Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series, the mini comic wave, Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man. So here we have another comic Miles Morales figure. We've not had a lot of them. We've had a couple over the years. We had one fairly recently, a couple years ago, in his mostly red and black suit. It has like the hoodie style that comes up as part of his mask. We had this very classic one in the Space Venom wave many years ago. There was a Walmart exclusive around the time The Amazing Spider-Man came out, which was a kind of a bigger build for Miles Morales, of course. So here we're kind of going back to that classic look for the Ultimate Universe, and then a fully pinless, and I want to say probably mostly new figure body. But we'll see once we kind of get into it, and we got to talk about the hips on this guy, because my goodness. But anyway, I got my set from ToySnowman.com, so link in the video description below. Toy Snowman is pretty awesome. They get all your favorite action figures and everything like that. So link in the video description below, my referral link. So if you use that link and create a new account, you get a 5% off coupon code in your Frost Rewards. Just a heads up, unfortunately right now, Miles Morales is sold out, as he has been a pretty popular one. Ultimate Iron Man, however, is currently in stock. So if you're looking to pick up this Iron Man, head over to ToySnowman.com and pick him up. Adam Warlock is also sold out, but Banshee, Rom, and who's the other? Dakin are all available for pre-order now. So ToySnowman.com, make sure to check them out. So looking at the Miles Morales, this is again the mini comic wave. So if you watch my Ultimate Iron Man review, I kind of go into detail about the mini comic wave. It's something to build the theme of this wave around. Is the comic accessory necessary? No, but it is kind of cool. You know, the digital print of them, it's not stickers, it's a digital print on the piece of plastic. Came out looking really good. Here I have the Toy Fair exclusive version. So my buddy Adam picked one up at Toy Fair for me, and you can see there it says Marvel Legends NYC 3/1/2025. So that is cool. Again, something to build the theme around for this wave. We get, you know, number ones of these very popular comic books and get characters associated with those. So that's always a good thing. That's cool. Obviously the characters themselves are not going to interact with the accessory at all, but again, something to build the theme around. Build a figure would have been better, but the Build-A-Figure seems to be going away. I've asked people, it seems to be kind of split. People want the Build-A-Figure, people don't want the Build-A-Figure because they don't want to buy a figure just for a Build-A-Figure piece to build a figure that they really want. They'd prefer the deluxe route. Again, I've seen it very split, so you either really like the Build-A-Figures or you really hated the Build-A-Figures. So it's just kind of back and forth there. I like the Build-A-Figures, and that'd be my preference, but we got that. We get this new blister card pack here that does look pretty good. This might be like a classic in 20 years from now. The younger generation that's going to be collecting, maybe they'll get a retro style packaging of this or something. So we'll see. We get that comic like banner there at the top corner, which is really cool. Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man. There, looking at the back of the package, we get a look at all the other comics that are there. The bio for Ultimate Miles Morales reads, in Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man, #1, Miles must work to overcome the disappearance of his father and aftermath of the battle with Galactus. There we go. And then we have all the figures in the wave. I've already looked at Ultimate Iron Man, and then we'll go through each one. I don't know what order I'm going to do it in, but there we go. So let's go ahead and open it up, and we're almost 4 minutes in, and people are definitely going to comment about how the review doesn't start until 3 minutes, 45 seconds. Alright, so here's the Miles Morales figure out of the package, and you know what? From far away, this figure looks really good. This figure definitely's got some weird things going on with it, and this is going to be one of those where it's like, this is the... I don't want to say that this is the problem with the mini comic wave, but this is something that... And I don't know about all of them. I'd have to take a look at each one. Like, does each one have a grip hand? Yeah, grip, 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 grip. Oh, okay, so each one has a grip hand, and I think each one has a grip hand to hold the comic book. The comic book isn't like it's a thing. Okay, it's cool and all, but like the character's not gonna actually have a comic book of themselves, right? So here's my thing with this Miles Morales. I'm gonna get this out of the way because we're gonna be talking about the accessories, right? So you have a fist, cool fist, that makes sense. Then you have a grip hand for the left. Okay. You know, if you have a web accessory, he can hold on to the web or something. So you got the grip hand. But there's no fist for the left hand. Like, you gave us a grip instead of the fist. Now, can you fake it? Yeah, maybe you can, but I think a fist is still better. So I think we lose out on the fist to get the grip hand. And then we got thwip hands, and I think are absolute must for Spider-Man. We got 2 thwip hands. Cool. Got it. Then 1 extra hand, which is a wall crawling hand. And this wall crawling hand looks really good. Like, look at the way they did this wall crawling hand. Very nicely on the fingers. I like it. Problem is we only got 1. Give us 2. Why give us 1? Give us 2. So I feel like, I don't know that the grip hand would replace the wall crawling, but we should have just gotten 2 wall crawling hands. But I think the grip hand came instead of an extra fist, just so he can hold the comic, which I think is again, weird. Here's the comic book. A nice print on there, which is quite nice. It is not a sticker. It's a nice print on there, so that looks good for Spider-Man #1. And then you could see it's got like the sculpted staples on the side binding, which is cool. You got the Marvel Legends series logo in the back, so that is really nice. Looking at the Spider-Man, the Toy Fair exclusive version, you can see there. So black plastic, white plastic, but looks really good. He can hold it and everything. I don't think he should have to be able to hold it, but it is what it is. We also, of course, get the masked head sculpt. So looking at the figure, looks really good. The web lines are painted really, really nicely. I'm gonna get all these Miles Morales figures out of the way. The web lines are painted very, very nicely. Very clean, very like everything. There's no issues with the paint whatsoever on mine. Now, QC issues, Hasbro has them. Like, there's probably going to be some where the lines either don't look good or like look bad or whatever the case may be. I guess the thick red line isn't perfect in some areas, but it's not anything like a problem that I have or anything like that. So that is all good. The rest of the figure is just all black plastic. And then the hands, of course, you get a little bit of red with a little bit of web lines on the fingers. Not a whole lot going there. There's that. The Miles Morales head sculpt on there. There we go. Hasbro tends to do this quite often. It's not always the case, but sometimes it is the case where the unmasked head sculpt is quite large. Like, that's a very big head. Let's be honest. Like, the head is just too big for the body. It looks a little funny. Let's go ahead and pop that off, and let's put the masked head. Oop, grab the head. There we go. Put the masked head sculpt on there. Looks really good. The web lines painted very, very nicely. Very clean. Looks very good. The lenses, it's like a sculpted raised detail on the lenses. That looks really good. Now, if you look, like, the unmasked head almost looks... I don't know that it looks bigger. Whoops. I don't know. The masked head sculpt just doesn't look as big on the body, whereas the masked head sculpt does not look as big, whereas the unmasked head sculpt, for whatever reason, looked a little bit bigger. And that's kind of odd, right? Like, I don't know why it looked bigger. I think maybe because his jawline is wider on the unmasked head versus the masked head or whatever. But that's what it is. But the mask looks really good. Web lines are really, really clean. Really, really like it. We get a new body here. I think it's going to be brand new. It's interesting because the torso, the arms, everything like that is really good. The hips, though, that's a problem. And people pointed this out when we got to look at the official promo images of the figure and everything like that. The hips are a problem. They don't look right. They look very, very weird. And maybe it's being nitpicky or something, but like, look at, like, the body shape is weird. It's a toy. It's an action figure. Is the human anatomy going to be perfect? No, I don't always expect it to, but like, this is pretty crazy to completely stick out. It's weird. Now, the body is so small, the legs would have had to been very thin to be able to do it to where it looks proportional. But Hasbro can do it. Look at and of course, you know, obviously aesthetically, the Spider-Verse stuff is very different, right? It fits the animation style versus the Marvel Legends, which have a very particular style and look across, you know, no matter who the artist was and whatnot. But they're able to do it. So I think they should have made the legs maybe a little bit thinner. Like, even if you look at the old one and look at those hips, right? That kind of works. And it's a similar body size. Yes, this one is outdated, but I wonder if they could have used those legs as a base and then just like went pinless with it, and maybe that could have been a thing. Or maybe it's just these hip pieces just being weird. They sculpted it to where, like, you see wrinkles here at the hips. Like, even if, say, they didn't want to do that, I don't know. It's just the hips are really wide and it does look a little bit funny. It causes a huge gap and it just looks a little bit weird. Is it a deal breaker? You guys will have to let me know down in the comments below. It definitely stands out, but hopefully the movement of the figure outweighs the way it looks. So let's go ahead and get right into the articulation, and then you guys could decide for yourselves. Okay, so Miles Morales, his head is on a disc hinge, so he can look all the way up. That is really good. He can look all the way down. That is really good there. of course, full rotation in that head. Is there some pivot? Nah, not really. And you know what? The more that I look at it, I think the mast head is a little bit big for the body as well. The shoulder, you can get the shoulder to go straight on out and upwards a little bit in there. You get a full rotation in there. You have a butterfly joint. The butterfly joint actually works pretty good. The thing about it is, though, the torso is so small, you would think you wouldn't have gotten that much range, at least going back. But you can get a fair amount in there. The shoulder is actually quite large, and maybe that's just part of, you know, why it seems like it goes so far back. I don't know. Coming forward is a little bit. Let's see how much crossbody we can actually get out of there. Not a huge amount on the crossbody, unfortunately. You have the upper bicep swivel in there. You've got the double jointed pinless elbow, gives you that much bend there. Wrists swivel and hinge, standard horizontal hinge on the grip hand, the thwipping hands, the wall crawling hand, and the fist too. I thought one of them was not. So all hands have the standard horizontal hinge. But here's where we're going to get into the torso. And I think the torso works out really well. So you got that diaphragm cut there with the inverted abs. So you could tilt to the left that much. You could tilt to the right that much there. So that is pretty good. Movement going back is only so far back. Movement coming forward on just that diaphragm isn't a whole lot, but a little bit. One thing I want to highlight here when we look at it is the way they really round it out, the lower torso portion of that diaphragm cut there, which I would think would have allowed maybe some additional movement. Maybe there's just more engineering stuff that Hasbro needs to work on to give us more movement in there. But it's not bad. It's pretty good. You could swivel. You could swivel at that diaphragm cut, as you could see there, which is good. And then we got the inverted ab crunch. So total crunch forward is that much there. That is really good. Total going back, that much there. That is really good. So we got that there. Legs go out that far apart, and see the hips wouldn't be so much an issue when they go like fit the body, right? It's just weird because and then boom, it's just again weird. You can kick forward. Oh wow, that's crazy. Hey, maybe these hips in this design allows us to be able to kick unbelievably far forward with this leg, because that is not normal. Oh, I didn't even realize we got a drop down hip. How did I not know that? Clearly I didn't do enough prep work there. So we got the drop down hip. So that is good. So let's do that. If you stand them up like that, the hips don't look like an issue, but you see the gap in there a little bit, but that's not bad. If you look at that from far away, that's an improvement there. So maybe that's, I need to take back a lot of what I said in the video. I'm going to keep it in, but maybe that's it right there. So just do the drop down hips and it's going to be fine. There's no issue there. But again, still a little bit weird. Leg goes that far back. You got the, let me do that. Let me raise that hip up. You got the upper thigh cut in there. You get a double jointed pinless knee like so. That is good. Calf swivel, which is nice. Foot hinges all the way down, some hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So the drop down hips makes a big difference. I agree. And then if you just keep the drop down hip there, you can make it look kind of good. I don't think you should have to keep it standing up to do that, but maybe if that's the sacrifice to make it look right, then maybe that's all right. But again, because that just looks weird, but then you do that and that's better. People have commented there's a way to avoid drop down hips, and I don't know if it's in the sculpt work of the hip area and how you could then get a leg to kind of kick forward so much. I don't mind drop down as long as they're functional, and this seems to work there. So you guys give me your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Okay, so looking at our Ultimate Universe here, we have the Ultimate Iron Man, the Ultimate Captain America, and the Ultimate Spider-Man. Silly me, I didn't bring Captain America out when I reviewed Iron Man. So for that quick side-by-side reference to Ultimate Iron Man and Ultimate Captain America, there we have it there. But then you can see Miles Morales being quite smaller than the both of them. Back to some other side-by-side comparisons. Here is the Amazing Fantasy Body Spider-Man. Now, this Spider-Man is the one from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the 3-pack with Iceman and Firestar that was exclusive to Hasbro Pulse. But you can see size-wise, he is much taller. Now, would a Miles Morales have been really good on this Amazing Fantasy body? Yeah, I think so. But, they went with the, teenager Miles where he was a lot shorter. So, that's why we end up getting this figure here. But I wouldn't have hated getting Miles on this body, but you know, we got this brand new one to go instead. Okay, so let's look at some comparisons with some other Miles Morales figures. We've got the Gamerverse Miles Morales, and I'm trying to think of which one that... I think this was Spider-Man 2 Miles, because we did get one for the Miles video game as well. But there are some of the other Miles Morales figures. There's some other ones that we've gotten, but I think these are kind of the classic suit. I guess technically the Into the Spider-Verse probably would have been the better one to bring out, but I did not have that one out here with me, so I didn't do that one. But here we have the comparisons there, and you could see that this new Miles, like if we drop them hips down, the way it comes out of package, he's tiny. Like, he's a little guy. Like, he's way smaller than even that previous one that we had gotten, and it's just kind of crazy, the difference there, and it's just kind of wow. But, you know, looking at them all, again, I still do think the head might be a little bit big, but yeah, there we go. And then see, they're about the same size now when you do the drop-down hips. But yeah, there are our Miles Morales Marvel Legends figures. Okay, and one final side-by-side comparison here. We have the Ultimate Miles Morales next to the Maximum Series Spider-Man, which in my opinion is the best Marvel Legends Spider-Man action figure there is. This Miles Morales is going to be the best for Miles Morales specifically, but Maximum Series is just a better Spider-Man figure overall. Okay, so kind of going in for the spider crouching pose, whereas like Maximum Spider-Man could do it, Miles like cannot. First problem being we don't have the two wall crawling hands to be able to kind of do that, and then we don't have the toe articulation there. But you can kind of curl up Miles Morales quite a bit. It's just that, you know, in order to kind of get the legs down, you have to kind of get that torso up a little bit, and then you can't quite get the head to come out enough. So this doesn't quite work. Okay, so kind of going into some Miles Morales poses and whatnot. I think, again, here we would have benefited so much from having another open hand as opposed to a grip hand. God, I really wish. Like, stop giving us one and not the other. Like, there was times where it's like we would get one thwip hand. Like, that sort of thing just doesn't make sense. Perfect world, give us every single hand. Now, what the business decisions that go into it, us, the consumer, will never know, but the consumer, we should get, like, obviously we're going to want everything we can possibly get. It's not always possible. Sure, I get it, right? We all will claim to be experts on the toy world and the business inner workings of it, right? But we're not. But from a consumer standpoint, give us the matching hands. Give us two wall crawling hands, give us two fists, or give us two grip hands, whatever the case may be. But like something like this, we suffer because we don't have the other open hand. Okay, so one thing here with Spider-Man, again, trying to get him into some other poses, and you know, I try to practice, you know, wherever possible, and I just kind of use like reference images from the comics, and this is one. One thing that's interesting about this whip hand, and I didn't realize, is look at his placement of his thumb versus kind of the old school standard thwip with his thumb out. So I don't know if, like in the Ultimate Comics, if Miles, when he did his thwip, that he ended up having his thumb in place there, because it looks like, you know, I don't know if he's, you know, going rock and roll or whatever, but that's an interesting way to do the thwip. Okay, another pose, superhero landing, very, 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 very easy to do with this Spider-Man. Okay, so that is the Ultimate Miles Morales figure, and you know what? I really like it. I like it way more than I really thought I would, because the hip thing I thought was going to be very distracting from the figure. Now that I know that I've been wrong this whole time, and the drop down hips really fixes the issue from an aesthetic standpoint and allows for a lot of really good movement, I'm really liking this. And this is, I don't know that it's going to beat out the Ultimate Iron Man for me in the wave, because I'm leaning towards Ultimate Iron Man being my favorite figure in the wave. We'll see by the end of this if my thoughts and feelings change on this Miles Morales, but it's definitely a really good figure, better than I thought it would be. Let me know if you guys, if I've changed your mind in any way, or if you still don't like the figure, or if you even more love the figure, or you still love the figure, didn't change your mind at all. Give me all of your guys' thoughts. Oof. Give me all of your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out toysnowman.com for your action figure needs.